Hello and welcome to Generation Studios. My name is Pierre Benamy and thank you for taking the time to come here. I had an idea that I thought might inspire, or motivate some of the younger generation, any generation really, but I specifically tried to focus on millennials like myself and Generation Z because we're so lost out here. We are all trying to get to somewhere that we're not sure the destination or the route to get there. Now, Generation Z and the millennial generation are historically two very strange generations that need a lot of help and unfortunately a lot of pampering, and and so I just want to convey an idea that I had recently, and that is when you look at the media landscape as a creator or a filmmaker or any type of visual artist, and you look at the media landscape and you realize how progressive it is. You realize how exclusive and how elitist it is. And you have the fear that even if you were to follow your dreams and passions and somehow get paid for them, that you're never really going to get your work as you envisioned it to the audience without someone in between changing it or adding in characters or changing male, female to female characters or to just completely destroy the plot lines that you've created. We see a lot of that in film now. We see a lot of that from, Hollywood and their remakes and their progressive versions of already, popular and completely okay storylines. They seem to have an overwhelming need to rewrite history. And as a creator myself, I think it's very, it's very depressing to look at all the power and wealth that Hollywood has, even though I know Hollywood is not monolithic. But when you look at all the power and wealth that they have and the way that they decide to use it, it's very depressing when you're the small guy. But, but the thought I had concerning this was, once upon a time, no one saw the Roman Empire. It didn't exist. And Rome was not always an empire, but no one could ever imagine that Rome would rule over the majority of the people at that time. And there are other comparable empires as well. But at the height of the Roman Empire, no one ever thought, one day this would not exist. You can go from Rome, ancient Rome, to Italy today, and its struggle against the EU, and it's almost comical about how in around, let's say, 1,500 years or so, you can go to something so great to something so small and so desperate. It's like history is like a comedy skit. So along those lines, once upon a time, the Ottoman Empire came and went. Once upon a time, you have Napoleon, and then you didn't. You have the British Empire that pretty much circled the globe. It came, and then it went. And now it's an island nation called the United Kingdom struggling for Brexit. It's truth is stranger than fiction. And if we take the same historical precedent and we apply it to media today, once upon a time there was no Hollywood. Once upon a time there was no Apple, there was no Google, there was no social media, there was no Instagram, there was no YouTube, there was none of that. And then they came. And like all other types of empires, they came, and then one day they're going to end. And that can be in our generation or not. But nothing is immune to time. And these social media, massive, multi-billion-dollar social media outlets, they are warring against each other. They're having a streaming war, if you've heard recently. And at the same time, they're drafting community policy rules that are destroying their consumer base. So they're competing against each other, attempting to expand while destroying their foundations. That sounds very much like history to me. And because it sounds like history, it also sounds like the future. So now the time is right. If you're an artist and you're a creator, if you're one of the groups on the blacklist of Hollywood where they're not going to give you the time of day, they're not going to let you even get a foot in the door in their elitist progressive empire, then it's time to make your own. It's time to make your own companies. It's time to collaborate. It's time to produce new media and new characters. If you see the demise of Star Wars and you see the demise of Marvel, or if you see the demise of Terminator and Charlie's Angels and all these movies that were once, I say kind of great, and now they're just being remade, or male characters becoming female characters like James Bond. If you're tired of seeing that, I'll say the nicest way I can, where you have to let go of these characters. They're determined to change history into the way that they see the future. And they're going to pay for it because audiences are starting to vote with their wallets, and they're not going to take art and substitute it in activism and pay for it. They're not going to do that. So let Hollywood do Hollywood, but you have to do you. You have to create, you have to produce, you have to market, you have to collaborate with people that are like-minded with you. That's why I created Generation Studios, and that's my plan for 2020. And that's my lifelong goal. I think that's my purpose. That's what I am here to do. And that's what you are here to do if you are a creator and you want your art and your artistic vision to be shared with fans without a middleman destroying your characters and plot lines to put in a progressive or political agenda. You have more power than you think. Let your creativity shine and be willing to open yourself up to take some risk. That's part of making your own brand, making your own company, and being an artist. So that's my, inspiration or motivation to you. And there's more historical similarities that sometimes I think of, that I might share in later videos, but that's what I have for you today. And so thanks for showing up.